The dream for SeeSharp was I want to build this thing into the 8 figures and then I'll have a glorious exit and then I'll go and do the next thing. The whole self-made man kind of thing, I want to be the next Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg. And that was my narrative for so many years. It was never the problem for me to let go of the company, but it was more about who am I as a person? Because I've spent this time building a career around marketing. I'm known as a marketing guy and being able to sort of climb the ladder. Throughout this journey, I came to realize with crystal clarity, it is not my destiny or not my journey to be the self-made man from zero to hero, and then now you're sitting on a yacht and all that stuff. But I am conditioned to be a custodian of what had already been given to me. I come from a multi-generation business family. We are a family with private wealth, and my destiny is to step into that and steward that and be a custodian and build that generational wealth into not only my immediate kids, but into the next generations.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Elevate with Vic and Juls.
So we've created this podcast to showcase our journey through entrepreneurship, as well as having multiple businesses, 2 kids under 3, and all of the raw stories behind it.
Now that we've done one season of just us on the microphone, we've decided to invite some friends to season 2 who are all incredible entrepreneurs, and they will be joining us on the couch to share their journey and their learnings along the way. And we think you're going to love it.
So if you like what you're hearing, make sure that you like us, follow us, as well as share us to your friends and family so we can continue to grow and do what we do.
Thanks, everyone. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Elevate with Vic and Juls. And today we're extremely excited to have a very, very long-term friend, I think 10 years plus, the amazing Alex Lau join us in the studio. Hey, Alex.
Hey guys, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Has it been 10 years? Am I right in saying 10 years?
More than 10 years,
More
I
10
think.
years, yeah.
Yes, I remember early days. You guys didn't even have an office.
No.
And then you had an office in Carlton near the petrol station.
Yes.
Yeah, so however long that was.
A long time.
I remember our first gig was actually in the BMW Edge with the charity.
Oh, Western
that you were part of.
Chancellor Charity.
Yeah. That was our first gig.
Yep.
Yes.
Wow,
yes. Oh my God, you were like doing some vlogging for us.
Yeah, we were. Yes, we were still in the production game.
Yes.
And then I think that was our first encounter.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay. Way back.
And you were still working a corporate job.
What I was? Oh, far out. Yeah, that will be 10 years ago.
Yeah.
More than 10 years ago. Even. So,
Jeez.
Well, tell us, who is Alex?
Well, I'm just an ordinary dude. I've built a career in marketing in the last 18 years. From my first, I don't know how way back you guys want to go, from a sort of a production, cameras and lights and sound and stage background. That's how we met. Pivoted to marketing under the same company, same entity, and then that's where I sort of anchored my career for more than a decade and a half. Now SeeSharp Group is a consulting firm. Which we do still do a lot of consulting, agency work, and so on and so forth. But as of 2026 or December 2025, I fully exited the company as CEO, and while retaining majority shareholding. So I'm just sort of an armchair board member, getting a dividend every now and then. Yeah, so on paper, still the marketing guy, but nowadays I manage the family office.
Amazing.
And that's some people call it semi-retire. I don't see it that way, but yeah, definitely this is where I'm at the moment in 2026.
I love that. We will definitely want to be unpacking your different season, especially this year with your family office.
Yeah.
But before we dive into that, let's go back to the marketing journey that you've had. Because you are known as the marketing guy that we hit up, we call, that we watch your videos to kind of learn the hot tips on. Why marketing to start with? Like, did you always innately were curious about it, or how did you fall into it?
Before I go there, I always also wanted to mention I'm happily married with 3 kids as well.
Yeah.
So,
Very important.
Important. Your wife is going to be listening and be like, where am I being featured in here?
yeah, exactly. So because I know the spirit of this podcast
Yes.
is about that as well.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
100%.
So going back to the original stories of where I come from, so I grew up in a multi-generational business family. So I grew up around the office with my parents, and they were very involved in the property game overseas. And then you sort of grew up in that environment where you're not sitting in meetings, you're around meetings and sales conversations and all that. So I think you develop a level of street smart in sales and marketing. At least in communications, knowing how to talk and all that sort of stuff. Then came to Australia in 2002. So I was born in Hong Kong. 2002, when I was a 13, 14-year-old. Did high school, and then I guess my upbringing is like getting a 9 to 5 has never been in the cards. Like you don't have to go to uni and go and get a corporate job and all that sort of stuff. So business and entrepreneurship, or at least being a freelancer, subcontractor, was a natural progression. So in uni, I did production, so audio production, all that stuff. And then and the nature of the beast is you never get a full-time job in that sector anyway. So I started gigging around and then you had to get an ABN, you had to invoice people, you had to, go out there and try and get more gigs and so on and so forth. So that's sort of my early entrepreneurial experience. Just out of necessity, when you had to get gigs, you had to promote yourself and, know your way around business and invoicing and all that sort of stuff. So I did that for maybe about 3, 4, 5 years. And then we got to a point where, and this, mind you, was sort of late 2000s, early 2010s. Then when you're in that game of producing content and all that sort of stuff, people, naturally started asking you, oh, do you build websites? Do you do this and that? And we... you and I, we just basically say yes to everything, and then you figure it out along the way, right? And then we started saying yes to building websites and doing this and that and launching videos and obviously, the landscape was very different to where it is nowadays. You will have your dedicated YouTube specialist and LinkedIn specialist and so on and so forth, whereas back in the day is a melting pot, right?
Yep.
If you know how to build a website, people assume you're a marketing guy already, right?
Yeah.
So we did that. And then we basically got to a point where we felt like, oh, we're actually pretty, at the time we had about 8 to 10 people on staff. And then, we got to a point where we felt like, oh, we're actually pretty good at this marketing thing. So we sort of intentionally shifted SeeSharp Productions to now SeeSharp Group, and we sort of organized ourselves into a marketing agency. Then I started giving workshops and again, just tapping into that natural, upbringing of, marketing and sales and being a bit presentable. So, started giving workshops on branding, and again, you were just figuring it out as you go. And then I still remember, one of our earlier workshops, I had a room full of 30, 35 adults, like in their 40s, corporate people. And then, I had to look like the guy, the smartest guy in the room. And then, you sort of had to look like you knew what you were talking about, all of that stuff. So that was the journey. And then we found a framework that we really liked called StoryBrand. And that was basically, the last 10 years of my journey being known as the StoryBrand consultant in Australia and New Zealand or this part of the world. And that basically just happened to be a perfect fit for the business. So, went to the States, did the whole StoryBrand thing and became a StoryBrand person for almost 9 years until recently. And that was basically how my journey has come about.
Of marketing in the last 18 years. Wow.
I've got so many questions.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
I mean, can we talk a little bit about the start? What drawn you to production? was it like the technology gear and
Yeah.
stuff that you were interested in, or was there something else?
Yeah, so I am a musical person. I was and I still am a musical person. So if you look at my studio now, so you know the studio that I shot my marketing videos now, I've completely changed it back to the music setup. So I had all the guitars and all the keyboards and everything.
Oh, nice.
So now I actually spend a lot of time playing music.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so the music is my first love. And so I went for audio engineering because of my love of music. I was never the sort of guitar hero, like the super talented, like the Jacob Colliers of the world. But I was drawn to the making of music. So I did that. I had a short career in audio engineering, like working in recording studios. I actually went back to Hong Kong for a year and a half and worked for one of the best producers in Asia, in his studio as an in-house engineer. That was like the dream come. I actually got to work on the Beijing Olympics project.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
Like, again, I haven't told that story for a long time, but it is one of those, sort of Disneyland experience basically for a couple of years. Yeah, so that was why I was drawn to production. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
I really love the fact that, us Asians
I know.
always talk about the fact that you have to be a doctor, a lawyer.
The Asian four. My kids are actually telling me that now. It's crazy.
The accountants or whatever. I mean, I don't know what you're like to your kids now, but I love that because you were exposed to business at a young age, like I think before you were just saying that that wasn't necessarily the pathway. You don't have to go get a 9-to-5 job. You innately was like, actually, I can be an entrepreneur, which I think is super cool.
Yes.
How was it like, I guess, going into the audio engineering side and then choosing to be the marketing person, the guru, and starting your business? Was there any point where you were like checking in with your parents and being like, hey, this is what I'm doing, what do you reckon, kind of thing? Or they're like, come back?
One of the most amazing gifts of my parents, coming from where they've obviously we've shared stories like I believe your parents were boat people as well, refugees or whatever. My parents were victims of the cultural revolutions back in the 60s and 70s. They lost 10 years of their lives in a remote island because of politics and all that sort of stuff in their 20s. So imagine you're in your 20s, you were sent to a remote island doing mindless work and not knowing when the finish line is, right? Like 5 years into the gig, you'll be like, man, like where,
is this where
so
we're
is,
be? Yeah.
So is I can't imagine, So coming from that background, they had the opportunity to go to Hong Kong and basically rebuild their life. And being able to give me full agency and full free reign for me to choose my own destiny, essentially, is such an amazing gift that they're giving me, right?
Wow.
So that's my answer to that question. So are there times that I had to check in with them and ask for their opinions? Sometimes, rarely, because of my upbringing. They just give me free reign.
Go for it.
So yeah.
I love that.
It's so unique and I'm so blessed.
Yeah, I didn't realize that about your parents, so thank you for sharing.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. I feel like that can be a whole episode on its own. Just unpacking what happened to them. And do you so you went from, audio engineering, you have that kind of production experience, and then I would say, got into marketing and like basically learned everything.
Yeah.
And say yes to everything, as we all do that when we're starting out. Like, yes, no problem.
When you're in your 20s, you just do that, right?
Yeah, just say yes.
Yeah.
When did it go from like just Alex doing his thing to then Alex hiring people and like, actually, this is going to be a company now?
Yeah. I would probably say I'm not a very good manager. I tried to be. So I'm so lucky to have Thomas being So, again, my encounters with Thomas would probably be another episode, but we were basically high school mates.
Yep.
And then he joined the journey basically when he was finishing uni, and he became the biggest blessing in my business journey.
Aww.
Yeah. Yes.
Thomas.
Shout out to you. Again, us Asians, right? We don't say this stuff to each
Yeah,
other,
we
right?
don't, yeah.
You do it through the lens, but you don't say it to each other, right? So yeah, he became the biggest. He basically took care of all the management chores, and that's his thing, right? So so I was probably okay with identifying talents and working with people from a leadership standpoint, and I always, I'm always able to build good sort of rapport and that feedback loop, and we always have great working relationship with our staff. But Thomas was the one who was stabilizing the ship and making sure we can make payroll, we can do all the HR stuff and all of that stuff. So I get to do all the fun stuff from a leadership point of view, and I just having someone like a Thomas was just a huge blessing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And growing the company now to growing staff and that journey. Tell us a little bit more, like where was there a pinnacle point in the business where it's like, wow, it's now growing into, from that business structure into a group structure, multiple services and offerings?
I think our business, I wouldn't say our business took off, but our business has definitely got like SeeSharp, definitely got to a stage where it became interesting and more profitable, because you guys know the agency game is catch-22, is a rat race, right? Like you can brag about fancy offices and how many headcount and all that, but at the end of the day, are you making a meaningful profit, right? So we sort of pivoted out of the agency, like building websites and logos and design and all that, and into the consulting firm posture, if you will, right? And that's I think is the pivotal point where we decided, now that we're really good at consulting, thanks to StoryBrand, it was time for us to get out of the rat race and start functioning as more of a fractional CMO, consulting. I definitely do a lot more speaking gigs and keynotes and workshops and whatnot. And that has helped us from a profitability standpoint and being able to get out of the rat race and being able to run the business more lean, which I prefer.
Yep.
And I, again, when you're in your late 20s, early 30s, your aspiration is, we want to be the biggest agency. We want to have an office in Collins Street. We want to have all fancy, so that like a lot of it is ego, to be honest. Whereas now these days, especially with the whole family office angle, like I much prefer a much leaner business, high profits, and being able to get into larger businesses and have longer term corporate relationships. Now we're one of the consulting partners with people like PHP and the unis and all of that, which is a much more comfortable. It's less glamorous, to be honest, but is much more comfortable and more profitable.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. And I think it's so true. Obviously, us running agencies and as well, like we understand the rat race.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, we always say it's like a hamster, you're like a hamster in a wheel.
Yeah.
You just got to keep running.
Yes.
Constantly.
Yeah.
But I think it's really interesting that, and obviously because we've been friends for so long, we've seen the kind of the shift, the gear shift along the way.
Yeah.
And then I love that you've identified the fact that it is moving away from that kind of ego, the nice office and whatever you can post about on social to now actually just being true to what a business should do, which is to make money
and profit. And it's so freeing.
Yeah.
When you let go of that ego and trying to, put up that facade and, trying to look good and all of that stuff, like it's so liberating because you're just doing your own thing, you're just doing your thing, and you're not worrying about how you're seen and how you're perceived. Yeah.
Would love to get into the family office journey, but before we get into that, I know our listeners would be very curious because this is questions that we always get
Yeah.
is what are you thinking or what are your hot tips around the marketing trends right now? And I know you're obviously a StoryBrand expert as well.
Yeah.
Is there a particular like framework that you want to share if someone's wanting to do better marketing for their business?
Yeah. So look, I know AI is the elephant in the room.
Yes.
Everyone's onto AI. I actually think the emerging trend is offline.
Yeah.
The AI race is, it's a massive bubble at the moment. Not to say that I'm a heavy AI user, I use it every day. But unless you've got unlimited budget or you're investor backed, like trying to keep up with AI is almost next to impossible. So I've seen some early success in some of the companies that we consult. The offline, that's why we're starting to partner again because the events, the physical experience, the human connections is probably something that we're circling back because digital fatigue is a real thing, and now with AI is even more prominent. I read something the other day. There are people in the States where they're charging like $250 to show up at someone's doorstep and just go for a walk with someone for an hour.
Oh my God.
Sounds
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I think for me the emerging trend is creating unique, sticky offline experiences. At the same time, I know people talk about community all the time, but there are only so many communities that like sticky, real communities that you can be a part of. So I'll be cautious about trying to, build too big of an ecosystem to go, we're trying to do a mastermind in a community and then people are going to come back for cocktail parties and whatnot is a great vision. But I personally, I'm actually seeing people wanting just a lack of a better one night stand experience, like a one time, no strings attached, good experience that I'm willing to pay a premium for. And don't try and upsell me. Don't try and get me into a retainer or whatever. Charge me $2,000 for a night, and that's it. So that's what I'm seeing at the moment.
Yeah.
interesting.
And obviously, we use StoryBrand as a communication anchor because at the end of the day, you just need to get good at communicating, right? I don't care where technology takes us. The fundamentals don't change, right? So you need to understand how to communicate. What do people want? How do you speak into their problems? How can you come in as the guide to try and solve their problem instead of go, me, look at how amazing we are, our product. Interesting. I just had a call yesterday with a sales rep of a charity. Like they do amazing stuff. But she called me. She wouldn't she literally called me and just asked about my day and then just ran on this spill for 10 minutes. I'm like, I don't have time for this, man. I know you do amazing stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't do that.
Yeah.
Right? So you just go back to the fundamentals, I guess. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
And then for those who don't know, what would be considered the fundamentals? Like I know you mentioned, and we've done the StoryBrand workshop, and it always stuck with me about being the guide and not the hero.
Yeah.
So can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So in StoryBrand, the classic thing is your customers are the hero of the story, not you. So the classic mistake many businesses make is in their marketing materials or whenever they get an opportunity to present themselves is all me, right? Look at the awards that we've won, look at our amazing offers and how many staff and our portfolio and everything. They're all good stuff, but guess what? People don't care, right? People are out there trying to look for a solution to their problems, right? So in your marketing, in your keynotes and whatnot, you want to hit them with, here's your problem. We empathize with problem and here are the reasons why. That's why we've designed a solution, step 1, step 2, step 3, to completely take that problem away. And here's the call to action button, right? it's common sense when I talk about it, right? But every single time I look at someone's website, I go into a room, I do this hot seat thing, and people pull up their websites and whatnot. I'm like, well, where is the hero of the story? Where's the customer facing kind of copywriting or kind of speak? So yeah, it's just the number one thing is to make sure that you're positioning your customers as the hero of the story, and you get to sit back to be the guide.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think it's good reminders, like, when we are talking about sales skills, we're not talking about just marketing alone, but this translates to sales skills, the core that you're talking about and that communication. And, it's really asking those questions for the alignment of the other person to and these are the questions to lead them into, that sales process or that buy-in to what you do.
Absolutely.
So,
I think the key for that is consistency as well, which you guys do a really good job, and you guys show up all the time, which is something that I struggle with. But it's consistency in messaging as well. Once you come up with what we call a brand script, or basically talking points, right? You want to stay on that script for as long as you want, and to be really consistent about it.
I like that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And like you say, it's so obvious when you like step it out like that. Because then you start noticing, even, we've got a young children, Frozen, like constantly singing the song and whatnot. And then you start to realize, Disney does such a good job of that.
It's the same narrative. You look at every Disney movie, it's the same story, but it works. It has worked for decades, right?
Just different princesses.
Exactly.
Same struggle though.
Same struggle, different princesses and different animals that accompany the princess.
That's right.
Anyway. Let's talk about your new season, which is this family office.
Yes.
Let's start from the fact that you have built this incredible SeeSharp Group for the last 18 years. It is now a teenager.
Yes.
Actually, it's an adult now.
Early adult.
Yeah,
It's
they've got the license.
That's actually a good analogy.
Most people who have built a business for that long gets extremely attached to it.
Yes.
And the idea of what you just shared around like stepping out and stepping away, and obviously you've got this incredible partnership with Thomas as well. But like, what were you thinking? Were you in that mindset of like, I've had enough, it's an adult now, like see you later, get out of my house? Or were you more like, I'm not sure, but this opportunity came up? Like, talk us through that.
Okay, so I hope we're okay with 27 minutes in. Okay, so it has been a 2-year journey.
Right.
And it gets spiritual as well. I'm a Bible believing Christian, so there's a spiritual component to that. But I've gone through a 2-year journey. I actually had to go to therapy for this journey as well. It was less about letting go of SeeSharp, the company. It was never the problem for me to let go of the company, but it was more about who am I as a person. Because I've spent this time building a career around marketing and known as a marketing guy and being able to sort of climb the ladder. So I was not ready to let go of that identity. And if you ask, if we had the same conversation 6 months, 9 months ago, I wouldn't be able to come to this conclusion. But it was the who am I kind of thing, right? So it's never about a company, it's about who am I. So I, throughout this journey, I came to realize with crystal clarity that I was never made to be the self-made man, right? Because the dream for SeeSharp was, I want to build this thing into the eight figures, and then and then I'll have a glorious exit, and then I'll go and do the next thing, and and the whole self-made man kind of thing. I want to be the next Elon Musk or whatever, Mark Zuckerberg. And that was my narrative for so many years, right? And throughout this 2-year journey, I just came to realize that it is not my destiny or not my journey to be the self-made man from zero to hero, and then now you're sitting on a yacht and all that stuff. But I'm called, or I am conditioned to be a custodian of what had already been given to me through the family office. As I said, I come from a multi-generation business family, so we are a family with private wealth, and I am. My destiny is to step into that and steward that and be a custodian and build that generational wealth into the not only my immediate kids but into the next generations. So it took me 2 years to come to that, and then once that was unlocked, everything became crystal clear.
Yeah.
Like, the exit became, it became, basically the writings on the wall. And I'm so blessed with people like Thomas, where he just stepped in, and now the 18-year-old is out there driving themselves and and doing their own thing, and I get to sit back to enjoy a little bit of the fruit of it.
Still bringing dinner home,
Yeah.
I got to pay the rent and all that.
and it's just so freeing. Like,
Wow.
I wish I would have done this earlier, but
Yeah.
I had to go through the journey.
Yeah.
And was this opportunity to now be the custodian of the family office, and we'll go through a little bit more what a family office is.
Yeah.
But like the custodian, was there any pressure from your parents or the other generations?
Yeah, and again, I feel like the luckiest person. I don't have any siblings. My parents don't really have any siblings
Right.
issues, like so many, because I'm in that world now and I get to hear all these stories, right?
So it's just a straight line.
It's just a straight line.
Wow.
No pressure. Like, I had a little bit of pressure when I was building SeeSharp. I had a little bit of pressure to go, hey, you guys should move back to Hong Kong. It's more of a tax haven.
Yep.
We've got all these things. That was my early 30s, and I just basically said, no, I want to do my own thing. I want to be the self-made man. I'm going to prove you wrong, all that, right?
Yep.
But now it's, and I'm so lucky that my parents are still healthy and able, because I do hear stories where, people, parents in their 80s, they're not able anymore, dementia, all of that stuff. Now they have to do the treasure hunt, but now I'm so lucky that I'm stepping in actively. They're willing and able and healthy.
Yep.
And is a bit of a transition going. I still have to do a lot of digging. They're not going to go like, hey, I've created this entire program for
here
you to
you go.
step into. I had to create a program,
Yeah.
but I'm able to get the data, the download and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's just take a quick educational hot step
Yeah,
because I think when we talk about entrepreneurship, there's so many versions, right? There's the sole trader and then there's the company and whatever, listed company and so forth.
Yeah.
But then now we're talking about family office, and some people have never heard that terminology, and they might think it's just your family home with an office.
Which I do have.
So do we.
Yeah.
But can you share with everyone what is a family office?
Okay, so a family office is basically a small, so in family office world, there is this term called the single family office and a multi-family office, right? So usually a multi-family office is more like a service provider. So they'd be like, okay, they would have an in-house team of what they call CIO, like investment experts, CFOs, people who look at the numbers, and then, they would probably have like a PE or private equity function to, essentially a professional team servicing private families. Right, so private families with a certain net worth would go to a multi-family office and say, "Hey, we don't have what it takes to handle this professionally. We've made our wealth through whatever, right, manufacturing or property or whatever." But it's usually concentrated in one thing. Let's say they've built a multi-million business and that's all they know, right? Now they're down to a stage where you go, well. There may be an exit, there may be a retirement plan, there may be succession planning and all of this stuff. We don't know how to handle this professionally. Then they go to a multi-family office to go, okay, then they go, oh, here's the de-risk, here's the what are your goals? And, we're rejiggling your portfolio into a little bit in property, a little bit in shares, a little bit in private credit, private equity, and then, now you can enjoy the fruit of it, right? That's a family office, right? We've taken what we call a single family office approach, or what they call now is called a virtual family office approach, where I'm taking the responsibility of professionalizing our private wealth, which means I'm in the process of de-risking and reallocating and deploying and all of that stuff with a small team around me to help out, right? But I am holding the keys of stewarding that wealth.
Yeah.
So that's in short. And I know the idea of a family office, or the term, is quite foreign to Australia at the moment. And I can almost guarantee you in 20, 30 years, you'll hear this thing left, right, and center. And is in places like Singapore, Hong Kong, and all that stuff is definitely the norm now.
It's common. Yeah. And so I'm interested to just perhaps unpack why the concept of why you would have a family office versus so usually
if you're like, look, I don't want to put just a number as a qualification, but in Australia you're qualified as a wholesale investor when you have $2.5 million in net worth or a certain income level. So and they haven't adjusted that number for decades. Like these days, a lot of people, like if you're a doctor, you know, you cross that mark already, right? And what that means is if you qualify as a wholesale investor, you'll be issued a certificate by CA or CPA or something. Then you now be able to get access to the private market. So a retail investor is, you know, you can go and buy shares in the public market, you can go and buy property, and you can get into like some development deals and stuff, but it's the retail market, right? But once you're a wholesale investor, then you'll be able to get into private equity or private wealth deals, which usually are higher risk but higher return. So in wholesale investing, you're talking about 10 to 15% per annum in return minimum. You talk to a mum and dad investor, but oh man, it's too good to be true, right? Which rightfully so, because once you qualify as a wholesale investor, you're also called a sophisticated investor. So the assumption is you're much more educated in terms of how money works, how finances work. You'll be able to look at IMs, you'll be able to comfortably look at financial statements to really understand. So 12% return is great, it's normal, right? We do expect that, right? So that is one of the qualifications. And once you're build a multi-million-dollar business and you start getting into the 8 figures, you know, 10 to 15 million sort of net worth or company worth, right? Then you have a much bigger pool to handle, right? And then that's where the family office conversations start to happen. And
I think, you know, I find it really interesting because you're absolutely right in the sense that it is very much a foreign terminology, and I think also culturally as well. The, you know, like Chinese, Vietnamese, you know, our Asian cultures and so forth, it is even more foreign to hear that terminology. But as Vic and I are getting also in private equity and whatnot, for us, it's like this idea of building up that family office is to effectively just like protect wealth. And, you know, not have someone in the generational line fuck it all up.
Absolutely. Is wealth preservation. And is it, a lot of it is risk management, to be honest. So people think family offices are this. So it's definitely not this whole cowboy approach. Like, we're going to be doubling and tripling and whatever. It's not that mindset. It's about preserving and making it sustainable for generations to come, in both asset allocation and also structure as well, right? Because as much as you love your kids, you know, they're created differently. So some of them, again, it took me, I'm 39 this year, so it took me a long time to come to that realization. So, and you also don't want to set your kids up for failure and also have the expectations that they're always going to behave the way that you want them, you know? So, you know, the structures that you want to create where, you know, you protect the wealth in a legal sense, and even if they don't end up being the custodian, you know, there are still measures in place for us to go forward.
Absolutely.
I'd love to know a little bit more about, I mean, where is the location of your family office currently? Is it in Australia or is it in another country?
So we do have a significant portfolio in overseas, largely in property. And my journey has been to bring some of that to Australia and other places, so Singapore, a little bit of exposure in the US market as well. Yeah.
Because it's just when you're talking about the risk management, it's the diversification of the industries that you're investing in,
Yes,
or the asset
absolutely.
type that you're investing in.
Yeah, historically our family, and it will be the case for many, especially Asian families, is all property.
Property,
I hate properties. Like honestly, we all have our opinions around property, but I don't love a large property portfolio. I love property funds, but I don't love being managers of properties. And it will be the case for many, not even Asian, but Australia. A lot of families that I know, just because the Australian larger enterprises are heavily geared towards property. So my job is to definitely diversify.
And can you tell me a little bit more, like, number one, why the hate for property, if it is? I think everyone loves it, but at the same time hate it.
I think,
but then what are the opportunities of assets that you're looking for? And at today's date, is what would you be putting your money into?
Like when I throw around words like I hate property, especially in Australia, I get so much pushback. Because
don't worry, we would probably be in agreement with you, right?
Part of it is PTSD because of the management required for a large property. Like when you're hands-on managing a large property, if you have 10 properties, that's great. But if you're responsible for 80 to 100 titles and tenants, it's not pretty, right? So I can from a family point of view as well, like my family of origins, like my parents, like all of our arguments and bad times around the dinner table all come from these bloody properties.
Yeah, right.
Right. Oh, maintenance and tenants and all of that stuff.
Yes.
It's a little bit of PTSD for me.
Yeah.
So it gets a little bit personal for me, but I think from a macroeconomic point of view, is like property is not super liquid. Yes, you can go to the bank and get a line of credit and whatnot, and I'm not a huge leverage person as well, and we haven't been historically for our family as well. So I just like people say passive income. For me, property is not passive. Or you can lose all your margins to a property manager, right, and make it passive, but you're talking about 2-3% yield. So it's just not my favorite way to invest. I am in developments. I like developments, but for me, it's always quick in and out. As a cash flow strategy, but from a holding point of view, we'll still hold properties. I'm not saying we're fully exiting property, but it's not my favorite way.
And I mean, from experience of the tenants and the maintenance and all of the issues that you need to go through in each and every
It is a lot of work.
I
I don't think people realize it until you're in there, and I think you are naturally made up to think, okay, you work, you earn, you buy a house, then you buy investment property. That's the pathway.
That's the tangible asset I can see and touch.
And then once you're in there, you're like, fuck, that's a lot of work involved. And then, all the other issues that come up with it. And then naturally as well, let's talk about the tax.
Tax, CGT and all that.
Far out. Oh yeah, don't get me started how we're taxed to the eyeball. Anyway, coming from Hong Kong, residential property is definitely no-go zone for me. Like single 4-bedroom house, is definitely no-go zone for me. Commercial property I like, but from a tax point of view as well, because you get deductions and is less tenant management. so that would be like my
So part 2 of the question.
Yes.
Where are you putting your money now?
So at the moment, because we're in this de-risking phase and we want to be as liquid and as sort of passive as possible. So we do invest a lot in funds. So your property funds, your private equity funds, your private credit. So we like being creditors. So we like loaning money. Especially in this climate, we like being that. So it's just that. It's simple. It's boring and simple. I like boring and simple. I don't have a lot of things to brag about when I go to cocktail parties and stuff, which I like. So at the moment we're parking a lot of our money in these things, liquid and whatnot. Yeah.
Wow. So tell us, now that you've obviously let out the 18-year-old and then you're moving into this new role, like how do you know all this stuff? Is it purely parents, educational programs, podcasts?
Is a huge learning curve. It still is a huge learning curve, but thanks to AI, I have created a massive self-learning program and also a professionalizing program to make sense of our portfolio and everything. So I've gone back to the basics. So I'm doing all the bookkeeping of all of our entities. I've created a massive dashboard of all our property portfolios overseas and everything. So just gone back like spreadsheeting and dashboarding. But thanks to AI and all the investments that I've gone into, I've created a dedicated project in AI to record absolutely everything and process everything. Right. So I find myself having hour-long sessions with the AI, just help me understand what I'm getting myself into, all of that stuff. I am quite lucky to have the CIO that I've hired. His name is Jackson Bower. He's been a blessing as well. He's just been super patient with me. Like he's the classic Deloitte CFO type kind of person, and he's been very patient with me. And I pay him for education. Honestly, right? It's basically like having a private tutor in this sphere. So I've come a long way from a knowledge point of view, and I've started reading like big, thick macroeconomic books and starting to understand them as well with the help of AI and Jackson. And I've just been enjoying this ride. It's like going back to uni.
I love that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the fact that you're doing the learning and you're doing the work yourself.
And I don't want to be that, like just outsource everything. And I want to know my stuff.
Very cool.
I want to move this conversation to include now the family aspect, right?
Yes.
So it's like building the family office, understanding very simple in terms of structure. How does it now affect, from passing it down as now the custodian? What are you teaching your kids and your next generations? Plus also, how does your wife fit into this?
So getting my wife on board and my wife on board is a journey, is still a journey. So I have dedicated meetings with her to try and go through the journey that we're both on together. At the same time, I want to give her, because not everyone's wired that way. Certainly when we were married, so we've been married 14 years now, 3 kids. It wasn't the case when we first got married. So she didn't sign up for this, right? So I want to respect that. And at the same time, I want to give her the knowledge and the whatever that I'm building as insurance policy. Basically, anything happens to any of us, there's a fallback strategy. And she's thriving in her own career as well. She's a team leader in Thermomix. So if anyone wants a Thermomix machine, you know who to call. And she's thriving in that as well. And I'm actually helping her on the sort of the marketing side of that as well. And she'll be starting her own channel and all of that stuff. So I want to give her the space for her to do what she wants to do, and having that backbone. Kids are interesting. Kids are push and pull. So we've got a 13-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 5-year-old. Now, I had started a massive experiment probably about 5 years ago with my older 2 kids now, and it's still working. but this is not a textbook. Here's what everyone has to do. Disclaimer, and this is not financial
Are you sure?
advice.
'Cause I'm about to take mine out and be like, I need to take notes.
It is working, but there are some risks associated with it as well. All right, and this is the first time I'm sharing this in a public platform.
I'm intrigued.
So I have taught my kids to grow a money tree for their own, right? Essentially, what I have done is I've selected 2 ETFs. You guys know what ETFs is, for them to invest it in.
Yep.
And then I get them to, and I use the analogy of growing a money tree together, so that you don't have to design your life or your studies around having to make a living. Do you know what I mean? So it's like if you love accounting, go for your life, right? But you don't have to force yourself into an accounting career because you have to pay bills, right?
Yeah.
So we're growing a money tree. It's not going to make them millionaires overnight, right? But the concept of growing a money tree through an ETF, so compound interest, right? People don't like if you start compounding and buying ETFs in your early 20s, you're considered as an early start, and then you're going to be an amazing person when you're 40s and 50s, right? I'm starting them when they were toddlers, right? So the concept of it is I selected an ETF. I personally put money into it every quarter, to keep growing. So that is putting in the nutrition and the water and all that. I get them to track the performance. Just 2 things. Just so every quarter ago, end of the quarter, today's date, here's the price of today. And this is how big your tree has grown now. And usually it grows. Sometimes it shrinks a little bit, but it's the ebbs and flows that I get them to try and understand. So I get them to track that. And then when the ETF pays the dividend, I pay them that dividend as pocket money, being the fruits of it, right? So you let it grow, you let the fruits drop, and then you eat off the fruit. We're talking about $100 every quarter or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I am experimenting with them, get them to track.
Do they get to trade at all?
No trading whatsoever, right? I don't trade personally. I don't even have the trading app on my phone. Like I invest through Selfwell or whatever. I don't even have the app, right? I don't look at it. So no trading. So you just keep growing. You enjoy the dividends or the fruits, and that's it, right?
I like that.
So now they have a significant buffer in their pocket money, and obviously their trees keep growing. And if the maths work out, when they're 21 or 18, or they would have a base for them to get into a property deal or whatever, as a bit of a leg up. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna start.
I know. I'm like, this is clever. I like it. I like the principle or the thinking of exactly what you just said, is the fact that we're teaching the kids to, follow their dreams or follow the pathway and not feel like they need to get that job in order to survive. And, quite often, especially for our upbringing, that was very much the case. It's like getting a career to survive and, live. And so, I've been lucky enough to obviously pick a pathway that worked out well for me in terms of what I love. But I definitely don't want that to be the case for our kids. So I like that.
And I think a lot of the young people that has been approaching us in that situation where they're like, oh, do I love my career or do I not? Like these are the questions they're asking.
And then they always get stuck. It's so interesting because we've been talking so many in that kind of early 20s or mid-20s, and they're like, but I'm really comfortable now with my income. I'm a bit worried but
you're still relying on the job.
Yes,
right?
exactly. And we're just like, just go and go do what you want.
Before we move on, I have 2 disclaimers because I want to make sure that I'm not sending the wrong message, right? I have 2 disclaimers. One is my kids still don't get it. If you ask them, what are you doing with your money tree? They can't explain it. Right? So it's not like And hopefully, my hope is, that's why it's an experiment, right? My hope is in their 20s, they will understand it, right?
it.
Yep.
And secondly, the risk that I'm taking with this is the whole entitlement thing, right? That they don't need to work, that work ethic and all of that stuff, which we are very cautious about, me and my wife, right?
Yep.
I want to say this, right? Like we don't do the shore, like, you do a shore and then we give you pocket money. I don't like it because it gets into a transactional relationship with your kids, right? So we do shores because we're family. We do shores because we love each other. And that's what we're doing. We're not doing this for rewards or money or anything like that.
Yep.
So that's what I'm trying to.
I guess it's a lesson of how money is taught to a young person.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because, like, when our upbringing, growing up poor, is that you have to work for money.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think, like, what
and then you have to save the money.
You
Yeah.
have to save the money. Like, you spend some, you save some, you spend some, you save some.
Don't take the risk.
And we know that you can't save your way
money
to
wealth,
wealth, right?
Yeah.
Let's get that right. If anyone's
It's a good
saving
practice,
your
though.
way,
Yeah. Do
So
save. Yeah.
We're talking about investments
Yes.
here, right?
Yeah.
And
You've got to make money
understanding
work for you.
how this all works
Yeah.
at a very young age, and actually let them.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a very high cost we're talking about,
Yeah.
but understanding growth in, like, compounding growth, compounding interest, compounding payments, dividend payments, what that dividend can be used for, franking credits, all this type of stuff.
That's right.
When we're teaching young people about the education of money and wealth, is a very different scenario to pocket money and spend.
That's right.
And save. I find it really interesting.
Yeah.
Here's my evolution of the money tree 2.0, right? When they get to a stage where they're ready to invest, I want to be able to teach them in a way that consider the pool of money as your soldiers, right? Let's say 50 grand, right?
Yes.
You have 50,000 soldiers ready to be deployed to go and work for you, right? So I'm trying to detach this whole narrative around, money is for you to buy good stuff or a good lifestyle. It's just a tool.
100%.
It's just a power drill for you to drill a hole in the wall, right? I'm trying to do that again.
Yep.
I'm in that
Love
journey.
that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot
Keep
of
sharing the notes with us.
I would love to.
No, our kids are a
teach
little
our
bit younger,
kids.
so I'm like, oh,
It's
take
probably
a leaf out
like
of your book.
the teachings of money is a tool. It's actually an asset. It's just a cash asset, right?
That's right.
But it's like, how do you use that money to buy other assets, or then getting into more tangible assets and all those types of things. Like, asset is actually the game of play here. Then that's how the generation of wealth is created. It's through assets, not through money.
Absolutely. And one caveat also I like to add to this is, and I'm so passionate about this topic, because I do see a generation to come in Australia. There will be a massive generation of people stepping into wealth in the next 10, 20 years. And I do set out, when I get my shit together, I do want to set out to build either a business or whatever, a multi-family office to help people to be able to step into wealth with confidence and with informed decisions. I was just going to say that lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me. But
okay.
Let's talk a little bit about children growing up. Family office is happening, and you're the custodian.
Yes.
Sorry,
I remember now. Right.
Go
one thing I definitely want to distill into this framework per se is live modestly. Right. Honestly, I can afford to go and buy a Ferrari and go and buy a yacht and go and live by the waters and live in mansions and whatnot. I choose not to. Right. And this is the kind of stuff that I teach my kids as well. We're a modest family. We live a modest, and this is probably my upbringing as well. Again, I'm so blessed with my parents being able to sustain that lifestyle. we live modestly. We drive normal cars. We live in a normal, comfortable, normal house, normal neighborhood. We open up our house for church and community and whatnot. We never want to be perceived as, the cocky rich people, and that's definitely values. That we,
And you're right. It comes back to your values, right? Like what underpins all your decision making in life. Right. And I love that. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I think like there is a lot to say about how we're teaching our kids in the future as well, because they can understand that they have money and they can become a different person because of it or blinded because of it. But
we still want them to be a good human being.
And
don't be a little
thing,
shit.
Right? It's like when you have wealth and understand wealth, then you don't need the glamorous things in life at times.
That's right.
And this is really good, like mentality to keep and actually teach down to generations.
Absolutely.
Because and this is my next question is going down. Kids are growing up and you're the custodian currently. How do you then pass your custodianship to the next generation?
Have you thought of that?
And also,
which kid will you pick? No.
And also, they would also have people possibly entering their lives as their partners.
Yes.
And how do you protect all that?
Yeah, and I'm on that journey right now, right? So again, I've only been in this thing for a couple of years. Obviously, I've made a lot of progress, but my aspiration is to create something in a company form or some sort of mastermind or whatever to help other people. Because in my world now, there's so many people on that boat. Especially obviously we all have migrant friends. They might have built a career. Usually the story is rich families send their kids, got a degree, and then now they're a CPA working a corporate job. Living a middle class sort of life. And then there will be a time where parents get old, and then they go, "Oh, we've got all this wealth. What do I do?" And then the person's like, yes, but I'm caught in between this no man's land of corporate career, my own life. Do I want to give that up and go back? Yeah. So it's quite a unique position. And I do want to create, when I get my head around, and I'm working with some consultants on this, when I get my head around what I'm doing and how do I create a framework around that, and hopefully one day I'm giving myself a 3 to 5 year window, then I'll be able to, offer this, to other people as well. Yeah.
We'll do a part 2.
Do we figure out?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really interesting, and I guess people who have, let's say, a wealthy family goes through that journey of pushing their kids into education and then going into a job, and then when we're talking about not teaching them about wealth.
That's
and
right.
then handing them the keys to
exactly right.
the money, the
exactly.
family office, is that normally they'll either find education really quickly to manage it, or they'll find ways to spend it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's unfair for us to put so much expectations on schools, because the general
understand the game.
The general complaints, schools don't teach you this stuff. Well, they're not designed to.
No,
right? So you can try and force programs in and whatnot, but the teachers are not trained that way, and the system is not designed unless we go full shebang. Hey, we're going to build a school and all that sort of stuff, right? So I think it's not the school's responsibility.
No,
it's down to good old parenting and having a family unit with a framework or with those values and just model it. Instead of teaching, they're not going to sit in a classroom and listen to this stuff. You model it, you get them involved. Yeah,
and not everyone is in that position for that type of education either, because
that's right.
In terms of wealth,
schools
in the
teaching
family,
to the average.
Well, it's teaching to everyone.
Yeah,
I know, but the school program is teaching the average things that you need to know
to
career and life kind of thing.
Yeah, well, the schools do a good job. Well, at least, my experience, schools do a good job, especially in Australia. They do a good job in teaching you how to think. And teaching you how to sort of make decisions. And I mean, yes, basic academic stuff is sort of a necessity, but just, the basics, right? But how you steward that that groundwork is totally down to is the parents' responsibility.
Yep.
And it's the family's responsibility to step into that.
And he's passing down of the family knowledge and everything along with that.
Yeah.
I love
So
that. Thank you so much for sharing your journey.
Thank you.
From the audio engineer to the marketing guy,
Yeah.
StoryBrand guru
Yeah.
to now the family office guy.
Yeah.
So family home with an office.
Yeah.
But I guess parting words to wrap up today's conversation. Knowing all the things that you know now and your journey in discovering who are you as
Yes.
well, what would you say to the young version of Alex?
Yes. I wrote that down because I had to think deeply about that. The number one advice that I would have for young Alex is chase profits, not revenue.
Yeah.
Yep. Top line is vanity and a profit is sanity, right? So I don't care if you've got a $10 million business, but if you're 9.6 in debt, is not a good business, right? So chase profits, real money in the bank, and learn how to or invest as early as possible would be my advice for 20-year-old Alex.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
We have taken so much from today's
100%.
chat. We will be starting the money tree
Money
with our
tree,
two
yes.
kids.
Well, if you fail, don't just don't.
I won't call you on it. But I genuinely love that concept. I was like, that's actually so good. We're definitely in this phase of like teaching our children, they obviously love toys. And that, like, where do you draw the line, and what kind of rules are we putting around it? So
We're trying to figure it out ourselves. to be
and
honest.
then just
Like,
navigating that ourselves. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't have all the answers. I'm trying to figure out the whole teenage thing now. So it's a different ballgame. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's been so much fun having you on our podcast. Thank
Thank
you
you
again for your time.
Yes. It's
Can't
fun.
wait to see what you do next with the family office.
Yes, and I can't wait to come back for part 2.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Yay.